almost want to do the little trumpet. Let me play that again. By the way, I do need to state this. All of this is just strictly my opinion. It means nothing. I don't know anything ahead of time. I just, wow, GoPro. Okay, and by the way, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate on this video because, you know, it's really strange because you get people that are very, very much fanboys, and I get that. I mean, it's like people like Sony, people like Canon, people like GoPro, people like DJI, they like Insta360, and I'm not hating on GoPro, but I'm like, wow, after what DJI has released and after what Insta360 has been releasing, you would think that GoPro would have brought out something better than this right there. The GoPro Lite, or the Lite GoPro. Basically just a smaller GoPro Hero 13 with some 4 LED lights on it. And I guess that was their answer to the low light situation. Let me go through comments real quick. Country Living, glad to see you on for this week. Yeah, last week it was my AC went out, and good God Almighty. I think it's the new AC refrigerant is 454B, something like that. Anyway, for that 5-ton unit, and of course you got to change it over to a new air handler. And since I have a gas heater, that had to be changed out. And so I've been selling plasma on the side to be able to pay for it. Let's see, exploring Norway. I see the Max 2 is not using the GP3 chip. Yeah, it's only using the GP2, and it's using 2 of them, obviously, for that 360 degree with the 2 lenses and all. And, you know, I do want to talk about the GoPro Max 2. And yes, it's been a long time since GoPro's released a 360 camera, and they released the Max 2. And I'm not going to get a Max 2. I'm not interested in it. I'm very happy with the Insta360 X3, X4, and X5. I would be interested in the DJI 360, but DJI, they never send me anything, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's see, the Car Boutique Detailing Review Channel. I'm just about to buy my next camera using GoPro Hero 10 at the moment. Can't decide between DJI and GoPro. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Well, I will tell you, the Car Boutique, it probably comes down to, are you going to shoot in 4K, and are you going to shoot in low light situations? If you're going to shoot in low light situations, hands down, I would get the DJI Action 5 Pro. You know, I did a review on the 5 Pro, and I talked about how I didn't think that it was the pro level camera that it should have been. And that's the thing, you know, when DJI released the Action 3, it had a focusing issue problem. And I called it out, and I know I've talked about this on previous live streams, but I called it out because it is a big deal. And then they released the 4, which fixed everything from the 3. Then they released the 5, and I think that the 5 has a couple of issues. It has some issues with the exposure fluctuating in different scenes. And I don't think that the image is quite crisp enough, because if you add that texture, which is their version of sharpening, it gets... If you're filming away from you, it's fine. If you're filming towards you, you do not want that texture up. You want to go ahead and knock it down. Let's see. Oscar's Gizmos and Gadget. Hello, Oscar. How are you doing? DJ Action 6 coming out 80 day now. That'll be the final nail in the coffin, or GoPro's coffin. Yeah, well, The latest info that I saw today is that the Action 6 will be released in 2 weeks. Excuse me. What does that take us as? Today's the 12th, so 2 weeks. I'm going to say somewhere between the week of the 20th through 25th or the 27th through the 31st is probably going to be a good bet on when DJI is going to release the 6. Is it going to be a 6? Is it going to be a 6 Pro? At this point, I don't know anything about that. I hope it's better and they introduce more things than what they've done before. I hope that they keep the subject tracking, because that is one thing I do really like about the Action 5 Pro is that subject tracking. Now keep in mind it's only in 2.7K, but I think it's still a really nice feature that you can move around the frame and it'll follow you around the frame. And if you saw my last video where I talked about did DJI start a shell company, and I wasn't trying to be rude, but when I saw that extra Edge Pro on Amazon and I got one in, no, they didn't send it to me, by the way. I went ahead and purchased it because I wanted to see for myself, is it identical to the Action 5 Pro? And it is. It's identical except for the firmware that's in it as far as the back screen layout of the user interface is different. There is no branding around the front lens to tell you what the aperture is. It's just simple things like that. And by the way, you may be wondering about this, and I want to show you something. I still want to talk about GoPro, but I want to just get on this extra bandwagon for a second. See that right there? The Extra Muse. It's the DJI Pocket 3. There is no way in the world, and by the way, here it is, right there. I will say I do like the gunmetal gray. I'm charging it up right now because it just got delivered about 15 minutes ago. So I haven't been able to mess with it all, stuck an SD card into it and just start charging it because it only had 20% in it. But I want to do some in-depth testing of it against the Pocket 3 from DJI. Now, it's really weird because the Pocket 3 gives you this nice little carrying case, which if you watched any of my videos before, you know that when the Pocket 3 had the issue where the screen, people were flicking it and all of a sudden it would go sideways and they couldn't get it to turn on or turn off correctly because the screen, something broke inside. I really thought that it was the case because how tight the case was on the side. When you pull the Pocket 3 out of the case, it kind of pulls on that screen a little bit. So I actually bent mine open. With this Extra Muse, you don't get a little holder with it. You get this bag that the Muse is in. You get a little USB Type-C adapter that you plug into the bottom because it gives you a quarter 20, and it also gives you that USB-C on the backside, which is just like the Pocket 3. I did order this little guy from K&F Concepts because I thought that it would be handy to have. It's all metal build, and it does have a USB Type-C on the back because I don't think, from what I've seen, I can't remember the gentleman's name. I think it's Jonathan, Adventures with Jonathan or something like that. He had made a comment on my video yesterday, and I went and subscribed to his channel because he talks about the Muse and that there was no functionality to be able to hook up a wireless mic to it. Now, I do know that the app had an update this morning for the Muse and also for the Edge Pro, so I'll check into that a little bit later on. But yeah, I'm really kind of curious to see what's going to happen with all this and what's going on with DJI. A lot of people, they were giving me a little bit of grief in the comment section because they're like, it's not a shell company. It's an American company. It's based in, I think they said Delaware. But if you look at the name of the company, it's actually a China company. So I don't know what's going on with all that. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but I will talk about GoPro. Considering that if this is all that GoPro is going to offer, and by the way, they offered one more thing when they did the release of the Max 2, this little lit Hero, which is, like the gentleman said earlier, still using the GP2 chip. They also released this, a gimbal. Gimbal for your smartphone or for your GoPro. And it's supposed to have some AI capability with the little light sensor, or there's a little sensor right below that exterior light. And it's kind of weird that they've got to use an exterior light to kind of compete in low light situation, because I don't think that they figured out this whole low light stuff where it comes to super night or it comes to pure video mode that Insta360 offers. But I will tell you, there has been so many people that have, for the last, what's going on my screen here? Let me pull that in. There we go. Over the last, I want to say it was since GoPro Hero 9, everybody talked about a 1-inch lens. GoPro is it's going to come out with a 1-inch lens. Well, the 9 didn't, the 10 didn't, the 11 didn't, the 12 didn't, and then the 13 didn't. So everybody had their high hopes for the 14, that it was going to have the GP3 chip and also a 1-inch sensor on it. And I think that at this point, if this is all that GoPro is going to offer, GoPro's in some serious trouble. I mean, they might as well try to release the Karma drone again, and we all know how that turned out. Let me get back to the comments here. Let's see. Okay, Oscar, already got you. Danke Allgemein. Almost sounds German. Danke. Thank you Allgemein. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for me, something like that. You know, you would think that I would know German since I was born in Germany, but waiting for the DJI Action 6, rumored to have a 1-inch sensor. If it's expensive and not worth it, I'll go with the Action 5 Pro. What would you do? Or what do you think? If they come out, here's my only thing with DJI. If they come out with a 1-inch sensor on the Action 6, we're going to run into some issues where the internal hardware is not ready for that 1-inch sensor. And it's going to be kind of like what happened with the 3 and the 4 fixed it. And then we had the 5. And if they came out with another camera like the Action 6 that still had a 1/1.3 inch sensor, but they fixed a lot of the internals inside and also fine-tuned the firmware, we could have a really good camera. But if they come out with a 1-inch sensor, and we know that the 1/1.3 is capable of doing 8K. Why do I say that? Well, the Ace Pro 1 could do 8K at 24 frames per second, and the Ace Pro 2 could do 8K at 30 frames per second. And that's a 1/1.3 inch sensor on Ace Pro 2. So I know that the 1/1.3 inch sensor is capable of 8K. It's just the internals on it. And it's funny because, you know, when you look at DJI and the DJI Osmo Nano, and I really wanted to try to like that camera. And I did like, there were times where I liked the colors and the skin tone coming off the Nano. But the overheating was definitely an issue with it. And the Vision Pod draining the battery. I could charge the thing up, have it sit, come back the next morning, turn it on. The Vision dock was down to 53%. I mean, I understand it's trying to charge up the camera module, but, you know, that's what it is. But if they come out with a 1-inch sensor, I hate watching release day reviews. I really do. Because, and I understand, I don't want to get into this debacle either, but I understand that there's a lot of reviewers that they get paid to make a commercial of a product. And that's basically what it is. It's an advertisement. It's not a real world review where you're allowed to say any and everything negative about it, and you don't have to send them a pre-copy of your video for them to nitpick it and tell you what to change. I just don't like watching first day reviews. I look at them and I go, okay, well, this looks good. And if it's available like the Nano was on launch day, while the launch video was playing, I saw it was available on Amazon. I clicked purchase, and it offered same day delivery. So later on that afternoon, I had it, and I was really excited about it. And then my excitement level started to drop off because I was like, okay, good concept, good thinking, trying to get into Insta360 Go 3S territory, or even just to Go 3 models for POV shots, but it just lacked a little bit in my opinion. So I don't know. I mean, Dunka, I would have to say, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I would have to say, watch the first day reviews, the launch videos, and then give it some time where you get some of these other reviewers that are actually purchasing the product out of their pocket, and they can give you a real world experience, because it's worth its weight in gold. Because if you're looking to a reviewer to be able to purchase a product and make a purchasing decision, I think it's important that you're getting the pros and cons in real world situation. If you get somebody using a cough drop, my allergies really, really bad. It's surprising. Mountain cedar is already kicking here, and it's not supposed to start till December. But anyway, don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, hopefully that answered your question a little bit. Let's see. Extreme Flights. Hello, sir. Welcome to the live stream. I'm not interested in any new GoPro products. Low light sucking is a deal breaker. That's a big one. Colors on the beach during the day are the best, but they threw in the towel with their vestigial flashlight nonsense. Yeah, let's just look at that again. And if that doesn't work, let's look at that again. Okay, so yeah, I like GoPro products. Every action camera before, they all suffered in low light. And everybody wanted to see some low light footage with all these older action cameras, whether it was a Casa or SJ Cam or the GoPro Hero 5 or 6 or 7. And everybody wanted some better low light without all that ton of grain and noise in the video. And then you get Insta360 and DJI that come to the rescue. They offer some really good low light performance. I'm not saying that it's great. It's not going to be like a Sony a7S III where you can crank up that ISO, it's dual base ISO, and get some really clean footage with a good prime lens with it. It's not going to happen. These are small little action cameras. I mean, there's only so much that you can get out of it. But no, I agree with you with that little light, massive deal breaker. Exploring Norway, gimbal equals made by Hohem. I used to review a lot of products by Hohem, and then my rep left the company, and I've reached out to them about, hey, am I going to get a new rep? And never heard from them again. They had one gimbal that I didn't really like, and I think maybe they didn't like that review because I dinged it a little bit. Hey, I'm sorry. Not everything is perfect. So that's all I got to say about that. GoPro got rid of the gimbal in drone engineering back in 2018. Yeah, they had the, what was that gimbal called? The Karma Grip. And that was their answer to the GoPro Hero 5 and stabilization, because even though GoPro Hero 5 did have electronic image stabilization, but it was only at 1080, if you wanted to record 4K, you had no stabilization at all. And if you used the GoPro Grip, you had an opportunity to get some better, smoother footage with it. But, here it is, 2025. I mean, it's the end of, we're nearing the end of 2025. Image stabilization has come so far. Now, if you want to hear some funny rumors, I had made a comment. Oh, this is 2025. I want to say back in 2021, maybe 2022. But I made a comment that if GoPro was to introduce their image stabilization into a larger camera, whether it was a 1-inch camera like the Sony ZV-1, or a Micro Four Thirds sensor, or an APS-C sensor, doesn't have to be full frame, but if they were able to offer that along with that stabilization, they would make a killing. They would destroy the market for a lot of these other cameras, because a lot of people, they like, whether it's Micro Four Thirds or an APS-C or full frame, but they like that image quality because you get a little bit better shallow depth of field. You can have an adjustable aperture with hopefully an interchangeable lens, and that would be the perfect vlogging camera, especially if you kept it something the size of the ZV-1. Then you could have a perfect vlogging camera, and it's not just for action. Now you're kind of getting into a lot of the videography. You can get a lot of into the videography people that either shoot weddings or real estate stuff. I heard a rumor. You ready for this one? I heard a rumor that DJI is going to be releasing a larger camera with that built-in stabilization. I don't know how true it is. I hope somewhere down deep inside that they actually do. Now, I know that they got the, what is that, the Ronin? And yeah, okay, so you got 3-axis, actually 4-axis gimbal, because now you've got the Z-axis where it covers that up and down movement. But that's more of a cinema camera, and people are not going to be able to afford, $4, $6, $8, $10,000 for a camera lens setup like that. But I hear, like I said, I don't know, and I also hear it's supposed to be before the end of this year that it gets released. One person told me they actually seen it and had their hands on it, but that's all that they would say, and they said 30 days or so. Had another person say that they've heard about it from another person, but they can't confirm it. So I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Let's get back to comments here. The Car Boutique Detailing Review Channel. I shoot videos indoors and outdoors of detailing cars. I use a GoPro 10 at the moment, and I find it very grainy and low light. Can you recommend an action camera that is better for my needs? Yes. In my opinion, the best low light action camera is going to be the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. And yes, it doesn't have a front screen on it. It only shows you details, but it does have that back screen that flips up so you can frame yourself. I got fingerprints and schmutz all over that. But this way you can frame yourself. If you like to shoot 8K, you can shoot 8K. I have never had any problems with any one of my Insta360 products overheating. Never had any problems with any of my DJI products overheating except the Osmo Nano. I would stay away from GoPro if you want low light stuff. If you want something a little bit more POV, I've had great success with the Go Ultra. It's actually worked really, really well. It's low light. Ooh, God, if I was to give it a category, I would say Ace Pro 2, number 1 for low light. DJI Action 5 Pro, number 2, very close number 2 for low light. And then the Go Ultra, number 3 for low light. Even though the Go Ultra has a larger sensor than the Action 5 or the Ace Pro 2. So hopefully that answered your question. But yeah, I would definitely go those two routes because battery life is great on those two cameras. I'm just curious about GoPro. I mean, let me take a look at what their stocks did, because I kind of watched the stocks. And remember, they got down into the, was it 50 cent range? See, since I'm using the internet for live streaming, my internet to my phone is running a little bit slow. 39 cents. That's the lowest that it's been in the last 3 months. 39 cents. And it closed at 2.30 on Friday. I think it's going to continue to fall. That's just my opinion. And, you know, there's rumors from the last couple of years that GoPro is actually looking for a buyer. And I'm just really surprised, given the fact that these other action camera companies, and, you know, this is still all respect given to GoPro, because they are the leaders. They're the ones that started this whole action camera thing. And as they started to develop, like the GoPro Hero 5, the 6 to me was a total debacle because the colors looked terrible on it. The 7 was a great camera. The 8 was a great camera, even though you couldn't remove the outer lens cover. But the color science got better. The audio got better. It was waterproof. And people started saying, you know what? I can go vlogging with it. But you would have to buy that little audio brick to stick into a GoPro to be able to get decent audio with it. And now here we are, end of 2025, and we've got wireless microphones that connect with these action cameras. And yes, action cameras are meant for daylight. Action cameras are meant, the word itself, action. Go snow skiing, whatever the case may be. Stick it to your car. Get action shots. My philosophy is a little bit more expanded. I think that they're great for vlogging. I mean, good God, you could go out with an Action or an Ace Pro 2 and you can go vlogging with it. Get some excellent video. Really, really good audio. Never overheats. Great battery life. And stick this bad boy into your pocket instead of running around with a big old A7 IV from Sony or A7S III or whatever camera, large format, full frame camera. Who wants to do that anymore? I mean, I know Casey Neistat still does it. I think he's on the Sony train now because I know he was on a Canon for the longest time. And he would walk around vlogging, holding the camera by its lens. And yeah, he got really nice looking video. But man, you're going to start getting a good bicep workout. Car Boutique. Let's see. Ace Pro 2 looks perfect. Thanks. Final question. Can I connect my Rode wireless mic receiver into the camera? Thank you for the advice. Yeah, I don't think that there should be any problem sticking the receiver into it because you just take the little door off of the side here that has, I don't know if this camera's going to focus there, but you've got the USB Type-C and you got your SD card slot back here. And you should be able to plug that right in. I know that the DJI wireless mics work with this without any issue. And then even Insta360, if you're looking for just an easy solution, and I like Rode, by the way, don't get me wrong, because out of all the Rode wireless mics that I have, it's the Rode Wireless Pro that I really like the best because I think the audio coming out of that's very good. But Insta360, they released this little guy right there, the Insta360 Air. I don't know why that's on, unless I accidentally turned it on. But this Air actually sounds really good, especially after the last firmware update from last week. It really does sound much better than what it did before. Ooh, looky here. 100, went away, 100%. Let's see. Gimbal endpoint reached. Let's see what the menu system looks like here. If it's going to be just like what the Edge Pro was. Yep. me tap that again. You see that green? Yep, it's the same layout as what the Edge Pro was as far as the color. And I know Paul Feinberg had commented that he liked the user interface colors, the green, because if you go to his channel, you'll see that green is his thing, everything, the backdrop, all that. Let's see. Rumors about a DJI mirrorless camera is a couple years old. The full frame market is pretty hard to get into with Canon's, Sony, and Nikon at the top. It all depends on the lens mount, I would think. Explore Norway, I agree with you. But given the fact that, you know, like Canon, I'll just use Canon for example. Canon kind of got rid of the whole third-party lens market to work on a lot of their cameras. And Viltrox, in my opinion, they make great lenses for the money. I've got a Viltrox 9mm coming for APS-C. I mean, think about that, 9mm with autofocus. And it's not that fisheye 9mm. I've got a Laowa that is a manual lens that I use for real estate. And when you can nail focus with it, because it's so picky, but when you can nail focus with it, you get some really nice images from that Laowa. But that was an expensive lens when I got that. I want to say that thing was $400, $500 for a manual lens. And now you can get the Viltrox 9mm for under $200. And I'm also getting the 14mm for full frame. And that's also under $200 for a full frame. I think that, yes, I agree with you about the rumors on DJI and a mirrorless camera, that they're a couple years old. But I will also say that there's been a lot more talk about it lately. Like I said, two of these people are reviewers, big reviewers. And then I saw some medium-sized reviewers that were doing a live stream a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about DJI, and they both kind of snickered about what's coming, and it wasn't the Nano. And when they snickered about what was coming, it made me go, oh, okay, what I heard was maybe true. So, yeah. But GoPro, do you think, tell me down in the comments, just quick, just give me your opinion. Do you think that GoPro is going to pull a last-minute sneaky move and say, okay, these other companies have released their best of the best. It is what it is. Now we're going to release the Hero 14 with the GP3. Do you think that's going to happen between now and December? Just tell me down in the comments section. Because, and tell me your reasoning behind why you think that they would do that. For me personally, I don't think that they're going to do it. I think it's a little bit too little, too late. Especially when they made the comment. Oh my gosh, what was the comment? I saw a comment on Twitter from GoPro's official page where they said that after their years of innovation in the market, the GoPro Hero 13 is still their flagship for 2025. And I kind of looked at that and just said, well, I guess there's not going to be a GoPro Hero 14. Don't have to worry about it. And it's really funny because it's not that I'm superstitious, but I was shocked that they came out with a 13. I thought maybe they would have called it something else, because I think the 13, for those of you that are superstitious, 13 is kind of an unlucky number. Although tomorrow is my first date anniversary. October the 13th. It was a Friday the 13th that my wife and I, we had our first date. And obviously it wasn't unlucky for us. And we got married a day and a year later. So October the 14th on Tuesday is going to be our wedding anniversary. And after 150 years together, we decided that, hey, you know, well, life is good. We're stuck with one another. I love her dearly. So maybe it's not that much of an unlucky number. In the Chinese culture, though, the number 4 is very, very unlucky. And I was surprised that they came out with the Action 4. But maybe they just, I don't know, maybe they put a stamp on the inside, called it something different, and cleared their karma. Let's see, Extreme Flight. I don't think that they're that smart. The lit was their tap out. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're going to release another camera. I think that what we got with the lit is I'm trying to think of a really good analogy of a camera that I may have that really sucked in low light, and me sticking one of those little LED camera, square camera lights up on top of it on a cold shoe and say, ta-da, I've got low light capability now. Yeah, that was just really, really sad. I think that by the time that we get into January, especially if DJI releases the Action 6, and now I hear that there's rumors, and I don't know anything. My rep from Insta360 hasn't said anything, but that there's an Ace Pro 3 coming down the pike, and that it may be it may finally give us the 1-inch sensor that we've all longed for. I don't know. I just hear rumors. Let's see. Bike is life on the kiddish roads. Welcome to the live stream. How to make the Shiat GoPro less Shiat. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there we go. Got to be able to light up that tombstone. I mean, and I'm not trying to give GoPro a really hard time. I swear I'm not. But when I made this little animation, I was just like, yeah, I've got to do that. Yeah, because I really think that where it says here lies GoPro, if you look at it, born 2002, died 2026. Yeah, I think 2026 is either they're going to get sold off or they're going to make some more massive cuts again. And I don't think anything that they bring to the market with the GP3 and a GoPro Hero 14 in 2026, I don't think a lot of people are going to really care, except for those that are GoPro fans. And I know that there's a lot. I mean, a buddy of mine, he can't stand Insta360 or DJI because he's GoPro all the way. And when him and I were talking about the lit GoPro, and I'm going to leave that Shiite up on the screen for just a second, but when him and I were talking about the lit Hero, the sadness on his face, it was like, I was really hoping that GoPro was just going to destroy these other two. And, you know, I don't have a horse in this race at all. You know, we could talk about DJI and what's going on and how it's not just the drone situation, because DJI has been labeled a Chinese military company. So I think that a lot of the DJI products may never make it to mainland United States, the continental United States, unless it comes through some back channel or like with this little shell company, Extra. But then again, how long is Extra going to be around? Because I don't think the government is really that stupid to where you and I, the viewers on YouTube, and that we look at these products on Amazon and what gets released. Because I was just looking to see, was the Hero 5 on a big sale? Because when the Hero 5 goes on a big sale, that means the Hero 6 is right around the corner. And I know that for sure because the DJI Action 4 was like $189, and it was that way for about 3 weeks, and then they released the Action 5 Pro, and the price of the Action 4 went back up. But I think it's a way to get rid of some stock. So just a little FYI, watch the prices. But anyway, when I was just looking on Amazon for the prices to see if they were fluctuating at all, if it was on sale, I see this Extra Muse, and I was just like, okay, I definitely have to check that out. All right, let's get back to comments here. Explorer Norway. Woodman announced the GP3 chip in the spring. I think it was a sure thing. It would use it in the Max 2, but that did not happen. So I think unlikely to see GoPro stuff with the GP3 until 2026. Yeah, you know, when the Max 2 came out, and they said it was still the GP2, although it was a newer sensor that would give you more of a true 8K. I was like, wow. I mean, so many people, and I've never had the Max 1. So many people had the Max 1 for the last couple of years. They've been waiting for an update. And, you know, you look at Insta360, it's like every 2 years they were releasing a new 360 camera until the X4, and they only waited 1 year and came out with the X5. And so they've accelerated their production of 360, and then everybody's excited. Okay, hey, there's going to be a Max 2, and yeah, it's still the same chip. And everybody knows the limitations of the chip. Everybody knows the situations where GoPro, anybody who's ever had a GoPro, that's not a ding. I don't know what it is with the firmware or the software or whatever the situation is, but you always got to pull the battery out because the damn thing will freeze up on you. And it freezes up on you in the most inopportune times. And then you got to, especially if you're using a media mod, then you got to take the media mod apart. Then you got to take the camera out of the media mod, take the battery out, stick it back in. Hopefully it reboots, and then you're good to go again for a while until it decides to crap out on you. You know, I think we're going to see more and more of that happening with the Max 2. Anyway, let me get back to comments here. Let's see. Bike is life on a kiddish roads. DJI drones, mics, camera, gimbals, and better than GoPro at their only job. Somebody had made a comment when I put up that extra Edge Pro video against the DJI 5 Action 5 Pro, excuse me. Here, let me get some more coffee in me because that may help. Since I live in Texas, gotta say, go Cowboys. I don't know. Cowboys are going to be just like the GoPro Karma drone falling out of the sky. You know, somebody made a comment on an extra Edge Pro video talking about that. Oh, God, I wish I remember the name of the drone manufacturer that released the Mini 4 Pro version under this new name, and it's orange. And Jeff Sibelius, it's a friend of mine. He lives out here in North Texas too. Him and I've met up before and flown some drones. He's got one. God, what? I can't remember the name of the company. Somebody will make a comment down in the chat about it, what the name of this company is. But I wonder, maybe that's a DJ offshoot. Let's see. Bike is life on a kiddish roads. Is GoPro Hero Lite the same camera as a GoPro thing they released with the GoPro Hero 13? Is a GoPro Hero Lite the same camera? Well, this right here, the lit, and that's the way that they have it spelled, L-I-T. It has those 4 little LEDs, but basically all the internals are a GoPro Hero 13. So the lens and all that, but they added those 4 little lights to try to improve low light performance, so you have a little bit of light on your face if you're out vlogging. But then that really doesn't help if you're out in a low light situation and you've got the camera facing away from you and you're trying to videotape a night scene or a downtown area. That's just not going to help. So it's really more strictly geared for those that want to vlog at night and get some better light on their face. Although from what I see of it, it's pretty severely harsh light that's going to be on you. So you're going to have a lot of overexposed areas, but that's GoPro. Let's see. That was a mouthful of a comment. I apologize about that. I have been known to kind of ramble on a little bit. And if that was a little bit too much of a ramble, sorry. Sensei Vegan. Sensei. How you doing, Sensei? Welcome to the live stream. I jumped down the rabbit hole and bought the Extra Edge Pro. So, did you get it yet? That's the question, Sensei. Let me know. It's really funny because one of my friends, she calls me Sensei. It's a story I'll get into one time on a live stream, one of the other channels that I have, and what I film with that. But that's for another time. But tell me, have you gotten it yet, Sensei, and have you tried it out? And tell me down in the comment section what your thoughts are about it. Let's see. Bike is life on kiddish roads. Oh. Either owe to my comment or I don't know. Oh. Let's see. Extreme Flight. Sky Rover. That's what it is. Thank you very much, Extreme Flight. Sky Rover X1 is the drone. That's the one that's just like the DJI Mini 4 Pro. I mean, it looks exactly like it, and even the image quality that I've seen from Jeff's videos, it looks just like it. Him and I are going to get together here eventually once the weather cools down just a little bit more, and we're going to go drone flying because I got an itch I need to scratch. Got all these drones and haven't been out a whole lot lately, just with all these other projects. Like today I've been filming for the last 2 days on location and just got home about 50 minutes before this live stream started, just enough to wash my face, brush my teeth, get some coffee going, and sit down and start this live stream because I've got to offload some video and then spend probably about 4 hours organizing some footage and then going from there. But yes, thank you very much, Extreme Flight. The Sky Rover, basically another DJI drone. Meantime, buddy. I meant me. Oh, I meant me, buddy. Yeah. Okay. But you can make fun of me. It's always cool. Meant me. Well, like I said, you can always pick on me. I got really thick skin. I mean, some of the comments that I get on some of my videos, I mean, I get people that say that I'm a shill, that I'm a paid shill. Because if I get a product from a company, and by the way, this irks me a little bit because according to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, if you get a product for free in exchange for a video, that's considered compensation. Whether or not that company paid you an additional fee to create that video, if Insta360 sends me the Go Ultra, I have to tag it as paid content because that is the law. And when I do that, but the nice thing about Insta360, I have total autonomy. I can say whatever I want to say. And if I do run into a problem, I always try to reach out to them ahead of time and let them know. I did the same thing with them or same thing with SJ Cam, with Akaso, all these other companies that I've dealt with. I had one lens from Suray that I had some problems with. And I was like, you want me to continue on with this video, or is this just my sample product, or is it something with the line? And they got back to me and they said, nope, we'll send you another one, send this one back. And thank you very much for bringing it to our attention. See, that's the kind of companies I like dealing with. But Insta360, they've never told me anything to say. But I get people calling me a shill, and I think that that's hilarious if they only knew. Extreme Flight. Find out if the batteries are interchangeable. I will ask Jeff about that. I want to say in his video, by the way, Extreme Flight, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. It's Jeff Sibelius. I know. Let me see if I can find his channel here real quick. And if I can, I'll throw a link. Man, I got so many pages open, it's unreal. Let's see if that pulls him up. There he is. Copy that. Over here, go on my chat pop out. And I'm going to paste a link to Jeff's channel for those of you that want to just check out his channel. Really, really, really nice guy. Very informative. He's also a Part 107 pilot. So, you know, you're getting real world knowledge from somebody who's been doing this a long, long time. And I don't know if he made a comment, but I want to say he said something about the battery on that drone. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. But him and I were going to get together here, I think the first week of November, and go flying. Sensei Vegan, I should get it this Wednesday. Well, let's see. Today is what? Yeah, today's Sunday, so Wednesday. You know, you're gonna see. I don't know if you have the Action 5 Pro, Sensei, but if you do, you're gonna notice it's identical. From the weight to the battery are interchangeable. It's just the same camera. It offers everything the same. The color profile is just the same. I mean, I even stuck it in Adobe Premiere Pro, and I was looking at the color charts just to see the color rendering, the RGB parade and all that, to see if it was just slightly off. And they're identical. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Let's see. From your comparison video, the Extra Edge Pro footage looked identical to the Action 5. Yes, it's identical. Let's see. That is the link to Jeff Sibelius' channel. Definitely worth subscribing to his channel. Really, really, really cool guy. He went through a lot of massive health stuff over the last, I want to say probably the last 10 months, because I know he told me that 2025 was definitely an ass kicker for him. And but he's on the mend and getting back into the game. So, Jeff, if you happen to watch this right now, or if you're watching this on a replay, man, I applaud you for everything that you've done to correct some issues, and I look forward to your health continuing to get better. Is the DJI Osmo Nano good? Is there a problem for heating issues? The DJI Nano is a good camera. If you've never had a POV camera before, like any of the Insta360 Go 3 series, or the Go 3S, or the Go 3 or the Go Ultra, yes, it's a good camera, but it does have overheating issues. And I have the 128 gig version, and it was really sporadic because I could be out in the heat with it, because I live here in Texas, and it gets in the 90s still very easy every day. And I would have days that I would shoot with it and I wouldn't have a problem. And then there was other days, still shooting 4K 30, that the thing would just overheat within 20 minutes and shut down. And that to me is just way too unreliable. I will say, from some of the reports that I've seen online of people talking about the Osmo Nano, is the overheating seems to be more of an issue with the 64 gigabyte internal storage version as opposed to the 128 gigabyte, for whatever that's worth. But is it a good camera? Yes. But like I said in my review video, and by the way, if you're new here, take a look at that review video where I talked about the Nano. And at the end of it, I think I made a really valid point, because if you're looking for an action camera that you can vlog with that's still small, when you look at the Nano that's this tall, when the camera module is on top of his vision dock, and then you get a regular action camera. God, this desk is just a clutter. But let's say like the Action 4. The Action 4 is a smaller profile, much better battery life. Action 4 never overheated. Action 5 Pro never overheated. So yeah, the overheat thing is an issue, but I can't tell you what to buy. If you're on, because I said in my review video, it's really worth watching that, because I think I made a really valid point. If you're going to buy the camera to use it in short bursts of videoing, 5 minutes here, 4 minutes there, 3 minutes here, 7 minutes there, it could be just a perfectly fine camera given the fact that it also has 10-bit. But I also talked about 10-bit because a lot of people, they hang their hats on 10-bit. Well, DJI's got 10-bit. GoPro's got 10-bit. Insta360's only got 8-bit. 8-bit sucks. YouTube, when you upload a 10-bit video, YouTube truncates it down to an 8-bit deliverable. Something just to kind of keep in mind. So all that 10-bit jazz kind of gets nullified. You have a better chance of getting a 10-bit really good video file with 422 chroma sampling, which is what you'll get with larger cameras, as opposed to the really highly compressed 420 chroma sampling. But that's going down another deep rabbit hole. Let's see, Extreme Flight. I've never seen Jeff before. Oh, looks like good info. Subscribe now. You know, Extreme Flight, you're going to actually, because he is not a fanboy. He, you know, whether it's DJI drone or Autel or, I mean, he's, one time we met, here I am, at that time for me was my brand new Air 2S. And I was super excited for it. And then he brings out all these bigger drones. I was just like, good God, man. He's got quite the collection of drones. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to these drones, and he does some really thorough testing. I've got a drone that's coming. I can't talk about it. And here I am talking about it. But I got a drone that's coming. Can't talk about it. And no, it's not the anti-gravity. God, I wish I could get my hands on that. I've reached out to them like 3 times. And since they are kind of an offshoot of Insta360, and I've got a really good relationship with Insta360, and I even had my rep try to help put in a good word, and my rep's like, we have no contact with that side, but you know, the anti-gravity Air 1, oh God, I'd love to review that thing. But I've got a drone review that's going to be coming up. Release date is still a little bit ways off. Still doing some testing with it. Let's see. Thank you for your honest response, because I was planning to buy it. You know, and I don't want to, you know, Mackie, I think it's Mackie. Mackay? Mackie? If it's Mackie or Mackay, I don't mean to butcher up names. I'm not trying to turn you off from the camera. I'm just being just totally honest about it because of its price point. I mean, I can run, sorry for hitting the mic. I can run this Insta360 Go Ultra until the battery dies and it will not overheat. That's a big thing for me. Now, I will say, when you take the camera module out of the Ultra, out of its little action pod, what they call it, the battery life is not as long as what it would be if you keep that Osmo Nano super ice cold. It can actually run a little bit longer. But yeah, here we are approaching about an hour. I'm going to see if anybody else has any more comments. If you do, please put them down into the chat area. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any comments, fire away. If you want to know what I'm drinking in my coffee, I'm drinking regular coffee. Well, it's actually Keurig coffee with hazelnut creamer. No sugar creamer, by the way. Been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, so I'm staying totally away from sugar, changed up my diet, and so far everything is going real good. Although I do have one of the continuous glucose meters, just so I can kind of keep an eye on it. Grandpa's Random Reviews. Hello, Grandpa. Welcome to the live stream. Sorry I missed last week. I was telling everybody air conditioner went out, and yeah, that was 5 digits for a new unit and everything that came with it. Oh man, I got busy, forgot time. Sorry. Hey, no problem. Come anytime you want. I mean, I know last time I tried to finish it after about an hour, hour and a half, and all the questions kept pouring in, and I want to answer questions. So I like doing these live streams because to me, it's a really great way for me to talk to you, the viewers. And even if it's some new people that are here that have never ever seen any of my videos before, I'm one of these people where I'm not a fluff kind of guy to where it's like, you know, everything's great and oh my gosh, today we're going to be looking at the Insta360 Go Ultra. No, it's not the way I'm built. I do get excited about products. I got to tell you, I'm excited to try this guy. This little extra, come on, focus. The extra Muse. I'm looking forward to trying this out because from Jonathan's, I think it's Jonathan. I may be wrong, but from Jonathan's videos, it's basically a DJI Action. A DJI Pocket 3. And when you think that the Pocket 3, you either can't get it or you're spending over $700 just for the basic kit. Yeah, when you can get this extra Muse for under $500, the same kind of performance. And yeah, even if it doesn't connect wirelessly, and I know that Jonathan, I think, had reached out to Muse and asked them, hey, are you going to add this? They didn't really say a yes or a no. They just said no, it did not at this time, but that they are working on firmware updates. My solution to that is going to be to use this K&F concept with the little USB-C on the back. Plug that in, plug in, where is it? The Boya Magic, because it comes with a small little USB-C dongle. When I say small, it's probably the size of a nickel, if that, or the size of a dime that just has a little USB Type-C. Plug that in there, boom, that is the receiver. And the Boya Magic's supposed to give really good audio. I just got to get around to taking care of that. Got too many pokers in the fire going on right now. Let's see, exploring Norway. We are waiting on the DJI Neo 2. Let's see, the Neo I never got, and I never seen anybody with one that I could go play with or check it out. It looks really cool. It kind of reminds me, hang on here. Hit something, didn't I? It kind of reminds me of, let's talk about some drones. So, we've got the Hover. Let me turn that around so you can actually see it. The Hover X1. This is the first one that they released. 2.7K, self-flying camera. And then Hover came out with the X1 Pro Max. And this guy right here takes some unbelievably great video. And I know there's going to be some people that say, good God, Andre, that thing is $700. Yes, it's an expensive drone. But when you think that you can get I got to show you everything that it comes with. But the little beacon, you get all of that with it where you can fly it like a conventional drone. But this thing has so many pre-programmed flight modes in it where you can say indoor follow. And it will follow you around corners and in and out of doors. It's just unbelievable. And 8K at 30 frames per second, and it shoots really, really good 8K. And you can even do a dolly zoom with it. And it does it in camera. Well, I say in camera, in drone. So you click it to dolly zoom, and it'll give you that JAWS type dolly zoom. And you don't have to even do it in post. I mean, what a cool little drone. But yeah, the Neo, I never looked at the Neo because I figured, well, I've got these Hover products, and they kind of fit what that Neo does. Ouch, we needed an lightning storm. Ouch. Needed an lightning storm. Are we getting some lightning storm? Hey, Grandpa's Reviews, where are you located at? Because if you're here in Texas, then yeah, we definitely need some storms, period, because it's just very, 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 very dry. I've got a well on the property, and the well is hooked up to all my sprinklers, so I sprinkle them all the time to keep everything going. Let's see, Grandpa's, I've learned if I'm really interested in something and I actually know at least a little bit about it, not so monotone. Well, I guess I get a little bit monotone. I do know, I feel that I know what I'm talking about. I feel that when I'm giving you viewers an opinion about a product, I've actually tested it and actually ran it through some paces. And there's been some products that I have really disliked right up until the end of my review video that I'm putting together. And boom, they put out a firmware update and they fixed everything that annoyed me. And then I'm happy again. And then it's like, okay, now I got to go back and reshoot a bunch of scenes. Or I'll just talk about the little glitches that I ran into along the way. Let's see. Oscar just came back from Disney and took as many cameras as I could. Let's just say the Insta360 X5 was top 2. Trip review coming on the channel as soon as I recover from the trip. Let me tell you, Oscar, there was a time, and I learned it with my last trip to Alaska, because I keep telling myself when I do these trips, it's like, okay, well, it's a great opportunity for test out this new camera, and I'm going on this trip, or I'm going on this cruise to the Caribbean, or I'm going to Mexico on a cruise, or like with this Alaska, and I keep telling myself, I'm not going to bring a bunch of cameras. Well, I've gotten to the point where I stopped bringing my big stuff, like the Sony a7S III or a7 IV or the FX30 or FX3. I don't take any of those with me anymore. I use a 360 camera, and then I took the Pocket 3, and then I took the Ace Pro 2, and then I took the DJI Action. Man, I'm right with you. You can take so many cameras, and you're just like, okay, we're going to go do this at Disney today. Which cameras do I want to use? And then you go out there and you start filming stuff, and you're just like, oh, gosh, I wish I had this other camera with me. The 360 cameras, they cover a lot. They give you a lot of latitude. Grandpa, your AC unit. Oh, about the AC. Yeah. Lightning storm. You know, I've gotten good. What is... A friend of ours is an electrician, and he went through the house and he put in this thing that is supposed to keep the AC sine wave perfect, so that it doesn't glitch with any of the electronics in the house. I just think I had a patient that was doing AC work and had an air conditioner go out up at the office, and he cut me a deal. And then I said, hey, well, you want to cut me the same deal at the house? And he did. And we were looking through receipts, and I got those Goodman units back in 2007 or 8. And so, you know, the way I look at it is they've kind of served their lifespan. I've had to put some those little capacitors in them. Getting this new unit, I will say, this thing cycles really fast. And when I mean cycles, it cools down a room, turns off, where the other one, the other unit would run 20 hours a day. This one runs maybe 15 minutes every hour. So it's a big savings. Although I didn't want to spend that kind of money because I still got 2 other units to deal with. So anyway. Grandpa's LOL. Wichita Falls. Wichita, you know, I'm sorry, Grandpa. I think that you had told me that before, that you're in Wichita Falls. I need to start writing stuff down, because the older that I get, my memory starts to fail me more and more. Let's see. Grandpa, you aren't monotone at all. You've helped me on a couple of different occasions on products. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm here for. That's why I created this channel, was to be able to help viewers decide if something was worth it or not. Let's see. Oscar, my wife is listening with me and is laughing too. You mentioned HOEM earlier. I used the new HOEM V3 for a live stream of the parade, and it was surprisingly good. You know, like I said, HOEM, I only had an issue with one of their gimbals, and otherwise all the other gimbals have been really good with HOEM. I mean, they've been making gimbals for a while. It's really funny because when you think about gimbals, like for an action camera, let's just say, there was a company called EVO, and they were the first ones that came out with a gimbal that really, really worked well with the GoPro Hero 5 or with the other action cameras. But back then, it was right around the Action 5, the GoPro Hero 5. Within 6 months of it being released, the Evo gimbal came out. And that Evo gimbal cost me $399. And then you look at how things have progressed, and you can get a gimbal for just a little over $100, sometimes under $100. So, you know, a lot of people say things have gotten more expensive, but I think when it comes to technology, the advancements are there, and sometimes the price to the consumer drops a little bit because the demand is so large. And I kind of use my the Burger King scenario that I used to back in a previous life when I was with Zales Corporation, the jeweler. I was with them for 23 years. 22, just shy of 23 years. But when I did meetings with different store managers or regional managers, and you know, we talked about, I would bring up just crazy little situations where one of them was you could go to Whataburger and buy a burger back then for, let's say, $2.99. Or you could go to Burger King and buy a Whopper for 99 cents. And a lot of people thought, well, okay, it can't be real meat, or there's something wrong, or the burger's smaller or something. And it all came down to volume. Maybe Whataburger sells that $2.99 Whataburger for, maybe they sell 500 a day. But at 99 cents, Burger King is selling 10,000 a day. So the profit margin is much smaller on a Whopper, but the volume definitely makes up for it. So I think that kind of goes along with a lot of today's electronics. Grandpa, Brandon. I will etch that into my brain one day. Brandon. My name's Andre, A.B. Brandon. Okay. I think I've got it. I don't think so, but I will write it down. I got to clear out this room anyway, because I'm going to be redoing this room, and I've got to get a lot of this gear out of here and clean off this desk, because my other editing station for my projects is right over there with my big computer, even though this computer, I consider it another one of my big computers. Let's see here. Brandon. Recently added a Rode pod mic and the OSB Tiny 2 Lite. It made a difference, especially the mic. Now I have two conference cameras that I have nothing to do with. You know, I had the Tiny 2 from Osbot, and it was working fine. Then they came out with a firmware update, and that thing just got so wonky. The autofocus got so terrible with it. I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing these live streams. And, okay, I've got my old Canon M50, which is what I'm filming on right now. And I've got a dummy battery for it. And I can plug that in with OBS, and it's only 1080p. It's not the greatest quality in the world. I definitely need to kick in some more light, because this little light right here is not bright enough, because I've got the ISO set at 400. And if I could kick it down to 100, the image would look a lot better on this camera. But, you know, Rode makes some great products, hands down. It's really funny because Rode had reached out about reviewing some microphones. And here's the funny thing. They reached out and they said, here's a list. Pick out some of the stuff that you'd like to review. Okay, well, I don't want to be a pig, all right? And I don't want to sit there and say, okay, I want this, right? And a couple $1,000s worth of product. I figured, okay, let me kind of build that relationship. And I was like, these are the two that I'd be interested in. And it was a week later, they said, oh, thank you very much for your interest. I will contact you when we want to collaborate with you. I was like, what the fuck? I mean, you guys reached out to me. But, you know, strange companies are strange reps. I won't blame the company. I'll blame the rep. Let's see, Oscar. I will say that I like the Home M7 more, but Disney workers frowned upon the bigger style gimbals, which is why I used the V3. Did they give you a lot of grief? Because I know, like, if I go to Six Flags over here, they give me grief about bringing cameras onto the rides. And I know when we went to Disney, oh, which one is it? The one that's in Florida. One's World and one's Land. Anyway, we went to the one in Florida, which cost us out the nostrils. And, man, they were so strict about no cameras, no cell phones on the rides. And I was like, good God, I mean, I want to be able to take some video. Let's see. Grandpa Brandon also switched StreamYard from StreamYard to OBS. OBS is good for me. It's not super powerful, but it works for my needs. And, you know, the only problem I had was on that one live stream, was it a month or two ago, where the audio was a little bit out of sync, but I figured out how to change the gap in the audio with the video, and hopefully it's a lot better, because I rewatched that video where the audio was out of sync, and it was like watching a kung fu movie where somebody was like, and, you know, let's see, Extreme Flight. Funny how our X3000s have kept their value, and my Canon Vixa R82 as well. My budget action cameras have all but given away, except for the original SJ Cam that I bought after seeing your video on it years ago. You know, it's really funny, Extreme Flight, because I went through and I've got a box of all these old action cameras. I mean, you remember Thea, Firefly, and when I pulled them out of the box, you know what I noticed? The plastic got so sticky, and it's just like this dude over here, the SJ Cam, the SJ 4000. Touching this is like somebody put glue or maple syrup all over it. And apparently it has to do with the plastic degrades. I know my Zoom recorder, my Zoom H6, it's nasty. My Zoom H4n recorder, no problems with it. It's still perfect. My X3000 is funny because I just charged it up yesterday because I was like, okay, well, maybe I can use some BTS footage of this little project that I'm working on. And then I decided against it and brought the X5, and I figured I'll stick a backup battery in it with a really big SD card and just kind of let it run for some BTS footage. But yeah, the X3000, really, really good camera. I wish Sony would kind of get back into the game, because even though its stabilization is not as good as what electronic stabilization is nowadays, that optical stabilization, as long as you weren't like crazy with it, shaking it around and, you know, all that, that optical stabilization kept up really nice, and the colors are really nice, and the forward-facing stereo microphones, what a great camera. Mine's still in focus, and when I got it out yesterday, I thought, you know, I need to start using this a little bit more. But unfortunately, nobody can get it anymore. You have to try to get it on eBay, and if you get it on eBay, is it one that's gotten too hot where the glue messed up, and now it's out of focus? But yeah, they held their value. Definitely did. Let's see, Grandpa. Uh-oh, hope they don't do a firmware update on the light. Why is that? You think that they're going to do something good for it? I don't know. Let's see, Grandpa had a company do that to me, get all interested, and they acted like I was the one who reached out to them. I know. I mean, I was like, if we're talking about Rode, you know, I was very flattered that they reached out to me. It's not the first time that they have. They reached out to me with the wireless, what was it? The wireless kit 2, and then the wireless Pro. And the Pro is definitely a Pro kit. I really like that. It's definitely I would put that on grade with a prosumer wireless kit. But you look at these wireless microphones nowadays, I mean, they're getting so much smaller. And like DJI Mic 2, 32-bit recording, internal float, boom. Getting lighter and lighter and lighter and smaller. And this Boya, for those, you know, I don't know if you guys are even interested in this. And if you're not, that's cool. You can just say, not interested, dude. I was shocked about, you know, remember I told you my desk is just a total clutter mess over here. The microphones on this bad boy are so stinking small. I mean, look, come on, focus. There it is. That is so small. And views that I've seen, the audio is supposed to be really, really, really good. And if it is, oh, you remember I talked about that is the receiver dongle. And it actually goes in the bottom of this. And you can use this like handheld shotgun microphone. And you can record audio into it. You know, lots of potential with this. Hopefully it'll be won't have to wait another week or so and I can get this Boya done. Let's see. Who's next on the list here? Oscar. Also, I got home today and I saw that my 85mm lens came in. Man, I wish I should have taken Sony E10 to Disney. What 85mm did you get? Did you get the Viltrox, the 85mm Pro? That's a good lens. Let me tell you. That is a really, really good lens. Let's see. Oscar, yes, they frown upon the extendable selfie sticks and are tough on having cameras on the faster rides like Tron. I tried to sneak in a wrist mount with the GoPro Ultra and it made me take it off. Sons of bitches. Let's see. Mark. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the live stream. Do you think that there'll be an Action 6? I hope so. Sent back the Osmo Nano overheating. Didn't really like it. Yes, I also sent back my Osmo Nano. It's not going to fit any of my needs. I don't think that, has it been 3 or 4 firmware updates on the Nano, and they still haven't fixed it. So it just didn't fit my needs. Yes, I think that there will be an Action 6. I talked about that a little bit earlier in the live stream. From what I heard, it's supposed to be within the next 2 weeks. Before the end of October is when the 6 is going to come out. Now, I was not told if it's going to be a 6 or a 6 Pro. I don't know. I would hope that it's a Pro because that seems to be a really good selling point for DJI because the Action 5 Pro was a big seller for them. Let's see, Oscar, the only thing allowed on those rides either a chest mount or the Meta glasses, which I'm getting in January. Let me tell you something. Oh, crap. Remember I told you I got too much crap on my desk. Meta glasses. I got these for my birthday back in June for my wife. These are the coolest things ever. And if you wanna try something, Oscar, when you get your Meta glasses, and you're probably going to get the new updated version. One thing I wish that it was a 16 by 9 as opposed to, oop, just hit the mic, as opposed to 9 by 16. But one thing that you got to try, walk around your house where there's noises, because when you have the glasses on and you're playing it back on your phone through the Meta app and you listen back, you're kind of freaked out because you think someone's stepping next to you and walking around you, and it's not, but it gives you that spatial hearing of what the microphone's recorded, which is really bizarre, but I thought that was a really cool feature. Great glasses. I recommend those to anybody that wants to get some camera glasses where you're shooting a photo or shooting video. I wish that the light didn't come on to let everybody know that you're recording, but I guess a black piece of some black piece of tape will take care of that. Stream flight. I tried to clean that crap with alcohol and turned to glue. I made a comment to somebody about alcohol, and I don't know if it was you 2 weeks ago, but they were like, oh, no, don't use alcohol. There's supposed to be some other trick that you can use. I would have to get back online and look up. It's supposed to help take some of that off, and it's not a permanent fix because apparently the chemicals that are in the plastic are starting to breathe out, and when they do, it causes a breakdown of that exterior plastic. Let's see, Grandpa. Let's see. Well, you said your Osbot worked good until the firmware update. That's what I was referring to. Yeah. It's a shame. Good camera. And it had a lot of good little features, and it could sit right on top of my monitor. And now I've got a articulating arm for the Canon M50 that's right up above my monitor. But no, Osbot, I guess I reached out to them about the firmware issue, and I never heard back from them. Let's see, on the mics, I went with the Ceramonic, but really kind of wish I had went with the Rode. But they work for now. There's that old saying, you can buy once or cry twice. Something like that. I forgot what the actual verbiage is here. Let's see. Oscars, yes, Viltrox. Oh, you're going to love that lens. Man, I tell you, what a good lens. When I go to my daughter's volleyball games, I use that on my Sony a7 IV just for photographs. And, man, I get some fantastic photographs with that lens. I mean, it's autofocus. I mean, you have to crank up the shutter speed so that you can get that fast action. But otherwise, I mean, it's great. Sharp, great. You get that beautiful bokeh, or if you're a Camera Conspiracies watcher, that tone, you get that nice tone in the background, that blurred background. It's really, really nice. That boy is the one I labeled the Swiss Army knife of mics. Extreme Flight, do you have the Boya? Because if you do, and if you're saying that you got that one and it's really good, then I'm really looking forward to that, because I'm going to plug that bad boy with that little button receiver on the bottom of this extra Muse right there. And I'll plug it in the bottom, and I'll be able to get some audio with it. And that works for me. Hey, Jeff Winters. Hey, how are you doing, Jeff? A long time no hear from. From what I understand, the price of the GoPro 14 would be a lot more than most people are willing to pay. The tariffs are making the price too high, anywhere from $800 to $2,000 for the next GoPro. That's absurd. Not your comment, the pricing. Here's the funny thing about GoPro that people just really don't talk about, is that GoPro is a U.S. company, but their cameras are manufactured in China. There are manufacturing facilities there in China. So, how is GoPro going to get around? Even though they're an American company, it's got to come back across a ship that's labeled from China. And from what I understand, a lot of the big A lot of the big transport stuff for DJI products that are supposed to be coming into the United States have now been stopped at port. And not that they're confiscated, but stopped because of this potential massive ban that's going to happen by the end of this year where no DJI products are going to be allowed in. But if that's the case, how did Extra get all this stuff in? I mean, even, and this is a big stretch, let's say that Extra built a manufacturing facility in Delaware under the name Extra, and they're manufacturing these Extra Edge Pro and this Extra Muse camera. Let's just say that, for example. They would still have to get the casing, the internal components, and all that stuff shipped over here from China. How's that going to happen? Unless it's going through another backdoor company that is in, I don't know, Malaysia or Indonesia, and then it's coming to here. Then I don't know. But then again, that's way above my pay grade. Let's see. Emailed you before we left to Disney to see if you want to drop me off the Viltrox 9mm for you to review, but I didn't hear back. Still my go-to lens. Did you really? You know, I've got to, my apologies, Oscar. I've got to check my email because I had an email from Paul Feinberg, and we were talking about Viltrox during a live stream. And next thing I know, I found his email in my junk folder. And I was like, why is it going to junk? Because him and I have actually chatted before in an email. I'll have to check and see if it's in there. I apologize. Thank you for the offer. Apparently, Viltrox is going to be sending me one, and they're going to be sending me the 14mm, but I'm really looking forward to that 9mm because I've got on my Sony FX30, which is APS-C, I've got the Sony 11mm, and you know that Sony 11mm is a $500 plus lens, and yes, it does give you a nice wide field of view, but it's very distorted field of view, and apparently this 9mm from Viltrox doesn't have all of that, and I'm looking forward to that. If you use your 9mm in a Disney, let me know because then I want to watch that video on your channel. Okay, Oscar? Let's say Extreme Flight Extra is corporately headquartered in Hong Kong. Yep. Even though the Extra company says that it's a U.S.-based company that was created in, I think, February of 2025. And I think Jonathan's Adventures or something like that. Anyway, Jonathan had mentioned that he reached out to them and point blank asked them, are you affiliated with DJI? And they said, no, we are not affiliated with DJI. And it's like another YouTuber that I converse with a lot, Stir Fried German. He actually lives there in China. I think he's very close to Shenzhen, and him and I were talking, and DJI, when you think about it globally, what a powerful big company that they are, they wouldn't let someone knock off their Action 5 Pro or the Pocket 3 without major financial repercussions, especially what the United States is doing regarding tariffs. You know that DJI would just shred this American company for stealing their technology and for copying them. But you don't see any of that going on. So that's why I really think it's just a shell company. And it's just DJI getting around this whole tariff and possibly military association with the Chinese military. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's all above my pay grade. A lot of this is just speculation. Oscar, my boy Magic Mike did not work with the X5. So primarily used with the DJI Mic Mini for all cameras. That's interesting. Because I could have swore I've seen a video where somebody used the Boy Magic on the X5, took the door off and plugged it in. I don't know. I'm going to have to test that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Paul Feinberg in the house. Yo, 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 what's up? We were talking about you earlier, Paul. Talking a lot about you. I mean, talking so much about you. I know that your ears were burning. Look here, Paul. The extra muse. And check this part out, Paul. Let's see, where is it? Over here? Nope. Where is it? Oh, it's on the other side. Check it out, Paul. You ready? Look at the green. If you look at Paul's little logo right there, that dude likes green. And if you watch his videos, definitely go subscribe to his channel. Paul's a cool cat. I like him a lot. Paul has got green in the background. His foam cover on his microphone is green. I think he's got a, I think Original Dobo made you a DJI mic holder with the green on it, or the stem itself was green. But yeah, we're just talking about GoPro, the death of GoPro, and here, let me play this for you, Paul. Yeah. So we're just talking about will GoPro survive 2025 and 2026? Let's see. Extreme DJI drone. Anyone trying to steal from them? DJI would drone anyone trying to steal? Oh, yeah. I agree 100%. DJI would just destroy them financially. I mean, I'm sure that they've got so many teams of lawyers that they just look for this stuff. And, you know, it's like Insta360 is real big about their intellectual property. And I know I've made comments before that this is like the Chinese culture to copy. And, you know, a lot of people may not understand, well, what's the big deal? Let's say that you get, I'm going to use DJI for just an example. DJI, they go through the process of making the Pocket 3. They do all the R&D and all that, and they develop it, internals, firmware, get it ready for public release. They release it. And then you get a company that comes out with the competitor to the Pocket 3 that is built identical. I mean, just a different name. And instead of a red button, it's got like a little greenish button there, or just black. Yeah, it's the R&D costs that go into making these products that is the reason why a lot of these companies are so aggressive about protecting their intellectual property, because of all the R&D expense that went into it. When you're thinking that they're spending, I don't know, maybe tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions on a new drone to come out with, and you get somebody that copies it, yeah, that just doesn't fly very well. And I can see them just ripping somebody to shreds. Let's see, it's 8:38 Central Standard Time here in the great state of Texas. Texas State Fair is going on right now. Let's see, Paul, you getting that 9mm Viltrox? Now, you are late to the party, man. Like I said, we talked a lot about you. Yes, I'm getting the 9mm. My rep finally came out of seclusion, or don't know if she's in prison or what. No, she actually, she reached out and said that she was on vacation with this Chinese extended holiday that was going on. I think it's kind of the fact that I tagged her along with some of those other people, saying that it's been 8 days since I sent her an email again, and still I haven't heard back. But yes, I heard back from her. I'm getting a 9mm, and I'm also getting the 14mm for the Sony FE. So full frame 14mm and a 9mm, and I'm super, super excited. Do you have the 9mm, Paul? Let me know down in a comment, because what I'm really looking forward to is not that distortion level, not that fisheye look, you know, because the Laowa, because we had talked about that last time on the live stream, that the Laowa was a non-fisheye look on that, but it's manual lens. So So anyway, let's see how many people I have in here. It says right now I've got 11 concurrent viewers. So if you have any questions, knock them down into the chat area. I will answer any questions that you've got. Otherwise, I'm going to slowly start wrapping up this stream because an hour and 40 minutes, I'm sure my wife and daughter over there going, yo, what's up, man? Or they're celebrating. They're very happy that I'm not hanging around with them. That could be the case. But, you know, Paul, we talked everything from drones, from hover to DJI products, Insta360, the GoPro, the GoPro Lit or Lit Hero, GoPro Hero 13 smaller version with 4 LED lights that now is capable of recording in low light conditions, but only on your face because you can't turn it around and film a dark street. Let's see, we talked about their new gimbal. Boring. And of course the Max 2 that just has the GP2 dual lens. Let's see. I saw Jonathan's videos. The guy's blowing up now. He said in his videos, extra sent it to him. Also, I think Boy Magic is small. Just wait till November. What's happening in November, Paul? Tell me. No, Jonathan, yeah, he's definitely blown up. I know he's only showing, I think, 8 videos, although he's made 18, so there's 10 of them he's put off into Never Never Land or unlisted them for whatever reason. But no, that one video of his extra versus the Pocket 3 had 90,000 views, and I think he's like well over 110,000 views on that now. So, yeah, it's a really good video. I like his delivery, and the extra Edge Pro and the DJI Action 5 Pro are identical cameras. And it's funny because I ordered the extra Muse. God, some of these names are just bizarre. But I ordered the extra Muse because it was under $500, and I was like, hey, if it's just like the Pocket 3, I'll take another Pocket 3 for under $500, Alex. Let's see. Brandon, or Grandpa Brandon. I'm just going to call you Grandpa Brandon. I'm needing a good wide angle for Canon RF mount. I was looking at 16 millimeter, I think it was. You know, I haven't messed around with Canon in a while. The M50, I'm using the kit lens on it because the only Viltrox lenses that I have for the Canon M50 were, I think it was a 50 millimeter, and then you add in a 1.5 time crop on it. So this would never work because I can reach out and just touch the lens right there. So this is good enough for me. For overhead videos, I don't know, maybe Paul Feinberg could chip in on that, or chime in, should I say, and give you a recommendation, because I think, Paul, you still shoot with Canon, don't you? And if you do, just let Grandpa's Random Reviews know what lens that you'd recommend for Canon videos. Let's see, it is 8:44. I am going to wrap this up since I'm not getting a whole lot of questions anymore. Let's see. Oh, Paul's all Sony. So Paul's a Sony snob. But, you know, no offense to Paul, so am I. I mean, my last Canon camera was the Canon M50. That was my last Canon camera. And I switched over to Sony. I like Panasonic. I've got the Panasonic G7, but unfortunately the autofocus, if you use it for manual or you set it to manual focus, G7, great camera. Use it for autofocus, man, that thing has got a mind of its own. It'll focus on me. It'll focus over there on the lamp, which is over there. It'll just decide, you know what? I want to focus on whatever the hell is behind you 50 feet away. But otherwise, it is what it is. Problem with Canon is no party 30. No party 30? But the problem with Canon is they have no third party unless it's APS-C. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier too, about Canon, that they don't really let third party kind of play in their backyard anymore. Paul, if you have an APS-C, Canon, the Sigma, well, I didn't think about Sigma. Sigma makes some good lenses. 10 to 18 f2.8 RF is great. Grandpa, I have an adapter. Okay, well, if you've got an adapter, Viltrox. Get a Viltrox lens. Get that 9mm. I mean, I don't know how close overhead shot that you need. Or Viltrox, they also make a 13mm. But I will say, if you get the 13mm, make sure that you update the firmware, because the firmware that comes on that lens, it does this little thing in the background, where the background, if I was in the studio and I got my Worth It or Not sign in the background, you would see it doing this little pulse on it, even though my face is in focus. But I did the update, firmware update on that 13mm, and now it works flawlessly. Sigma, yes, Sigma, definitely the way to go. Grandpa's Random Views. Thanks, Paul. Definitely check out Paul's channel. Really, really, really cool guy. He reviews everything. Let's see, Paul Feinberg, 9mm APS-C. Okay, so got a little bit of a crop. Nice thing about my Sony A7 IV, I can go into either keep it full frame or go into Super 35 mode. Grandpa, about 2 feet to maybe 3 feet above my desk. Normally, I use my Sony ZVE-10 Mark I as overhead, or my ZV-1. To me, I find the ZV-1 to be a better image for some reason in 1080p over the ZVE-10 Mark I. Now, the ZVE-10 Mark II and my Sony a7S III are my talking head cameras up at the office. So, for whatever that's worth. Paul Feinberg, did you end up getting that 9mm? Sorry, I think I missed your response. It's coming my way. So my rep actually came out of hiding, and she's sending me the 9mm and also the 14mm for full frame, the FE lens for Sony. So I should have those in about a week or so, because it's on a slow train. Oscar's Grandpa, you love the Viltrox 9mm. From what I've seen of the Viltrox 9, that's why I was like so excited to get it. Let's see. I love that we can get Super 35 mode on our Sonys. That's really just so nice to have, because it opens up the versatility of a lens, especially if you've got, let's say you've got an 85mm for full frame and you want to get a better focal length that you can reach out a little bit further with it. You go into APS-C Super 35 mode and boom, you got a little bit more of a crop, but it zooms in more. But then again, the A7 IV, what was that recording? Records in, I think it's 6K downsampled to 4K. So, you still get a really pleasing image out of it. Subscribe to Paul's channel so I could remember to go look. I forgot that I remember. Oh, Grandpa. It's something about us getting older. And it's funny because I was talking to a patient about this, I guess about a week ago, and how she had also read this article, because I was like, yeah, I saw this in JAMA. And it's about your body changes. There's 2 major changes for your body. One of them is when you hit the age 40. then your cells start to change. And the next big jump is when you hit 60. And when you hit 60 years old, then you start to progress in the aging process again. I'm 61, and I can definitely tell you that that is no joke. Let's see, Paul, I use my Sony ZV-E10 Mark II as an overhead. It's a great camera. What a really, really good camera. See, nice. We got your rep out of hiding. My man did it. Yep, your man did it. You did it. You did it. The gentleman that was in your email. So I sent her an email, and I tagged him, and I tagged the other person in that email. And I was like, hey, I reached out to her, and still haven't heard back. And I sent another email, and I'm like, hey, it's been 8 days. I mean, do I have a new rep? What's going on? And she told me she was on some kind of Chinese New Year. Let's see, Oscar, from overhead, my ZV-1 M2 is perfect. I don't have the Mark II, I've got the Mark I. And if you see, I've got that goofy little sleeve on it, and that's because, the ZV-1 was touted as a vlogging camera, but of course, field of view was way too tight on this, so had to do the little adapter thingy, and then that worked into a good situation. But I don't use that anymore. I just use this for a little bit of B-roll shots if I stick it on a slider, but mostly for overhead. Let's see. Grandpa, I'm taking notes. Haha. Take notes. I wish I had a notepad. Wish I had room for a notepad up here. It's okay, you're a grandpa. I am a grandpa, but not for my 14-year-old. I've got a 37-year-old too. She's got 3 boys. I got 3 grandsons. So yes, 37-year-old. Can you believe that? I got a 37-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old. 14-year-old just keeps me young and drives me nuts. But she's such a good kid, and what a rock star in sports and music. Let's see. Oh, boy, I just hit 39 on Friday. Hey, Paul? What's your mother's name? Could be your daddy. No. I'm just playing. Let's see. I'm at that 60, knocking on 61's door. It's a good age. Because I'm at a point in life, and I was talking to a friend of mine at our daughter's game the other day, and I don't know, the conversation came up about parents and who gets along with whom, and the butt kissing that goes on and all that. And I was like, I reached an age where I just don't care. I don't care if you like me or if you don't. It just doesn't faze me at all. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love my job. I love what I do. I love all the little side projects that I do. If someone doesn't like me, they can go straight to hell, because it doesn't matter to me. These people, they just don't enlighten my life at all. If they want to nitpick, complain, whatever the case is, so be it. I am what I am. I am who I am, and I am not going to change. Extreme Flight 61. All right. You were born in 64 also. 1964. What a good year. Unless the wine bottle has been opened, then the wine has gone bad. Cowboys. I don't know what's going to happen with the Cowboys this year. Let's see. I'll tell that to my wife all the time. What, that you don't care? Let's see. I don't care what. You know what? You're 39 years old. Good job. Good job. I wish I had learned that when I was younger. In my professional life, when I worked with Zales Corporation and dealt with those thousands of people, I didn't care what an employee thought. I didn't. But when it came to just people that I interacted with, friends and all that, I did care. And now I just don't. I just don't have time for it. Let's see. No matter what the age, Disney will expose you. That is funny, Oscar. Let's see. You come to a point where it truly is, oh well, and move on. Ain't that the truth, Brandon? You just, you know, if someone wants to sit there and be negative and wallow in that, then when I'm walking away, then I still know that they're still wallowing in it, and I think that that's good because that's karma paying them back. Let's see. Only person's opinion that matters is my wife's opinion. Yeah, I'll agree with you. And I mean, my mom's opinion mattered to me when she was alive. A lot of people know this, but some people don't. But she passed away back in 2022. It's been, oh my gosh, we're closing in on 4 years come January that she's been gone. And I miss her tremendously. We moved her in with us about 9 or 10 years before her death. And it's not because she needed our help. She wanted to help us with our daughter when she was growing up. But I miss her. Yes, my wife's opinion matters to me. My daughter's opinion matters to me. And everybody else can... I just don't care. Let's see. I listened to Stoicism video on YouTube. Talked about how don't give a fuck at your age is from the wisdom we've gained over the years. And by the way, we don't have to worry about monetization because I've turned monetization completely off. Talked to my YouTube rep about it, and they said there was some kind of glitch that was going on 2 weeks ago, but they fixed it. Whenever I say no monetization, there should be no ads that pop up during the live stream. That's great. My mom and I were so close, but she doesn't care for my wife. You know what's funny, Paul? My wife and my mom, they got along so well that you would have sworn that my mom had given birth to my wife. Those were two peas in a pod. And my wife said that she loved my mother like her own mother. My mom was really, really, really good German woman. And she was the type, and I guess I get this from my dad. My dad was really a tough dude. My mom was totally opposite. My mom was a peacemaker. My mom was like a Mother Teresa, and she cared for people. She forgave everything, and no one was a stranger. And she would give literally the clothes off her back to someone that needed it. And because she came from war-torn Germany, and so she knew what it was like. Let's see. I wish that was the case, and my wife wished that was the case too. How long you been married, Paul? I think you've been married for a while, right? Maybe a separate little side conversation with your mom, because moms seem to be more than willing to tell their son what the issue may be, and maybe it's just a misunderstanding. 14 years, that's a long time, Paul. That's a long time. I wish I had better news for you, but after 14 years, I don't think your mom's going to change her opinion. But then again, you know what? It may just be, and here it is. By the way, welcome to another edition of Dr. Phil. It could be something that was said or something that was done years ago that, our moms can take things to heart, and it can hurt them very deeply. But maybe it was just a misunderstanding. And maybe a misunderstanding, once it's cleared up, then you guys can patch up and catch up. Patch up and catch up on the time lost. Well, speaking of time lost, it is now 8:59. Let's see. LOL. I was her favorite, and she's that way from her. She didn't want to share. Oh, Okay, so there is something. There is something. Maybe something got said somewhere down the line. You know, I don't know if you've got kids, Paul, but if you do, all you got to do is tell your mom, hey, you know what? You're a grandma. We got kids. This is my kid's wife. I mean, my kid's mom. We all need to be a family and wrap this up and find out what the problem is. And whatever the problem is, if she needs to apologize, speaking of your wife, or if your mom needs to apologize or you need to apologize, and so be it. Oh, I do. Recording kids? Yeah, well, you know, kids can make families better. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this live, Steve. It's just live, Steve. Oh, God, what a day. Paul, I'll tell you, I've been shooting for the last 2 days on this project. And I just got home, and let's see. My mom said she did her time raising kids. So, tell her babysit, damn it. Let's see. Nightbud. Nomadic Brit. Evening, sir, in chat. Nomadic Brit, welcome to the live stream. And unfortunately, we're about to end it because I start this live stream at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know what time it is in your area, but it is now 9:01 my time. And I'm going to go ahead and drop off of this live stream because 2 hours is quite a long time to sit there and talk. GoPro, we talked about GoPro. I hope that this does not happen, but I think that it will. I think GoPro's in some massive trouble. Your Eastern time. Okay, well, you're just a little bit off. Time-wise, that is. Hey, Paul, I'm glad you can slip in and say hi. I'm glad you could, too. I'm glad you could, too. Definitely 7 p.m. Mark it down on your Sunday calendar, Central Standard Time. Take care, Andre, and everybody else. Hope to catch you next week. And, Paul, I'll be checking out your channel after I edit the video I have sitting in Resolve. Let's see. Paul, Nightbud, thank you very much, Paul. Have a good night. Grandpa, take care. Oscar, good night. Be good and good night. Well, I can say good night. I won't be good, but I will definitely say good night, and I'll try to be good. So to everybody watching, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we may talk about the Extra Muse. Yeah, this guy versus the DJI Pocket 3. Is the same camera? Or maybe we'll have some other news about DJI and a large sensor camera. Until then, talk to you later. Bye-bye. Extreme Flight. Good night.